What's up, everybody? Last week, we talked about KTC fallers. So I thought this week it would make sense if we talked about KTC risers. What are we doing with them? Buy, sell, hold, not talking about them at all, etc. So the five biggest KTC risers over the last 30 days. Keonandre Lambert-Smith, AJ Barner, Courtland Sutton, Bijan Robinson, and Jimmy Garoppolo, in that order. It's not the order we'll talk about them, and I don't know if we'll get to actually all of them. We'll see how long-winded I get on some of these players, but I will try to hit all five of them. So the first player I wanted to talk about today is Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton is one of those players that, if you've heard me say it before, you've heard me say it 1,000 times. I believe you when you show me what you are, right? Courtland Sutton has largely been a wide receiver 3 throughout his career. In fact, I'm just going ahead and looking at his player profiler page, and I see one top 24 season, and that came last year. Now, I know he's been in the news. He just signed a big contract, 4 years, $92 million. Of that, $41 million guaranteed. So that's that's obviously the biggest driver on why his value has increased on KTC. Again, he's never been more than a wide receiver 24 in his career. Even last year when he did so on a 10% touchdown rate. If you want to be exact, it's more like 9.9. Now, that's not the first year that he's had a crazy touchdown rate. He actually had a 17% touchdown rate. He had a 17% touchdown rate back in 2024. Back in 2024, like I said, he had 10 touchdowns on 59 receptions. 10 touchdowns on 59 receptions. That's a wild mark right there. So again, that was a 17%, if you're rounding up, 17% touchdown rate. So it's a little higher than, well, not a little higher. It was a lot higher than it was in 2024. The funny thing about that is he still only finished as the wide receiver 38 in Dynasty, in scoring points per game in 2023, even with that wild touchdown rate. So last year, 10% touchdown rate, just about, and it still only took him to the wide receiver 24 heights. So what does he do when he doesn't score at an amazing clip? He was also the wide receiver 27 way back in 2019 when he had an 8.3 touchdowns per reception rate. So we can see when he does that, when he hits those high levels of touchdown rates, he's still just a wide receiver 2 last year. But the other 2 times he did it, he was a wide receiver 3. Like I said, wide receiver 38 back in 2023 and the wide receiver 27 way back in 2019. The rest of his career, the other 3 seasons, excluding the injured year 2020, because he played, I think, like a quarter, he's had a 3.1, 3.4, and 4.8% touchdown to reception rate. Those years he finished as the wide receiver 40, 51, and 63. So even at his high end, if everything goes perfectly for him and he scores a ton of touchdowns, what we're looking at is a guy that's probably a wide receiver 2. And wide receiver 2s are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. But I think, obviously, you should be looking to see, can I get out on this wide receiver 2 for a good return, right? So he's not a guy that I'm looking to buy. Maybe if someone wants to throw him in a deal, sure, but I'm not really looking to buy. So as always, I go to our friends over at Dynasty Daddy, or our only friend, actually. There's just one of them over there, just to see what type of deals people are getting. See, this one I love. Today, someone made this deal. They got Jaden Reed, a 26 first. Excuse me. I don't have my glasses on and my contacts are bothering me. But they gave up Jaden Reed and a 26 first for Courtland Sutton. I'm not really sure I understand why you would do that deal, if we're being honest. Courtland Sutton, again, wide receiver 24 last year. Reed was below that. But if you look at their KTC values, I mean, they're not that far apart. Jaden Reed is wide receiver. Courtland Sutton is wide receiver 34. And Jaden Reed is wide receiver 42. Wow. Actually, pretty big difference there. But I don't know that this is where you want to spend the first, jumping from a wide receiver 3, 4 to a wide receiver 2. To me, that's not a wise way to spend a first. If I'm going to be tiering up, I would hope that I'm trying to tier up from like a wide receiver 2 to a wide receiver 1. Just a bigger impact. But again, there's other deals that were in here, so let's just take a look at those. We got George Kittle and Courtland Sutton on one side, Tank Dell, Dalton Kincaid, and a 27 first on the other. It's a 1 tight end premium. Courtland Sutton's really not the draw there. It's really George Kittle, I'm thinking. And I do like that side. Over here, we've got Tucker Kraft for Courtland Sutton and a 1 tight end premium. It's pretty fair. James Cook for Courtland Sutton and Cooper Kupp. I would probably take James Cook's side. Tony Pollard and a 27 third for Courtland Sutton. I guess that's not bad. Courtland Sutton for a 2nd and a 4th. It's not bad either. Superflex, Baker Mayfield and a 27 2nd for Courtland Sutton. That is a bad deal. Courtland Sutton and a 26 2nd for Bryce Young. I don't know how I feel about that. We've got Jaden Blue and Jalen Milroe for Courtland Sutton. Yeah, give me the Courtland Sutton side. So going through this, here's another one. There's a 27 first for Courtland Sutton and a 27 2nd. For the most part, Jalen Waddle, for Courtland Sutton and a 26 2nd. For the most part, these deals actually for Courtland Sutton aren't too bad. So I hate talking out of both sides of my mouth. But probably what I would do is see, is there anyone in my league that's willing to pay a first for Courtland Sutton? It doesn't have to be this year, or 2026. It could be 2027. I would just see if anyone's interested in Courtland Sutton for a first. If they're not, maybe I do look at some deals, right? Like if all of them giving up is Jaden Blue and Jalen Milroe, fine, I'm good with that. Although I kind of like Jalen Milroe's upside potential, but it's still not a bad price to give up for him. So Courtland Sutton, I think he's going to be, if I had to lean one way, and I have to because I have to pick, because that's what this whole show's about, I would pick that I would be buying cautiously. But first, I'm going to look to sell. Like I said, man, first you're going to try to sell him for a first. If you can do that in your league. Actually, I would add a 2nd to Courtland Sutton to get a first if I could do that. Again, we saw that deal with Jaden Reed and a first for Courtland Sutton. I would just take the first. Jaden Reed would absolutely be just an additional add-on. KLS, Keonandre Lambert-Smith. So I know he was a 5th round pick, right? And generally we tell you to stay away from wide receivers that have bad draft capital. But I'll say this. I'll just say this. Just a couple things, right? He's absolutely been tearing it up in camp. If you look at not the practice reports, but if you just look at the blurbs coming out of camp, he's been tearing it up. That includes prior to the Hall of Fame game and even after the Hall of Fame game. And in the Hall of Fame game, he had a nice touchdown. He had 2 receptions for, I believe, 43 yards, long of 28 yards. But he's been tearing it up in the preseason. Greg Roman, the OC over there, said that it's not like he's a one-trick pony down the field guy. He said on Saturday, he's really impressed me. He's gotten a lot better with his route running. So what that article was talking about basically was that besides the fact that he's a field stretcher, which he is, he does have more to his game than just that. If you look at his college career, it started off really, really slow, right? His freshman season, he had 24 receptions for 389 yards. It's not very good, right? I didn't even know he went to Penn State, and I actually watched a good bit of Penn State. In 2023, it did see a pretty good increase, right? 53 receptions and then 673 yards. Last year, 2024, had a really good season at Auburn. He transferred and had a good season at Auburn. He went 50 for 981. Now, what else happened over his 3 years in college is that his target share kept increasing, his catch rate kept increasing, and his receiving touchdowns kept increasing. He started off his freshman season. He had a 10.7 target share and a 53.3% catch rate. By the end of his college career, we were looking at a 22.3% target share and a 61% target catch rate, 8 touchdowns. I guess it would make sense that he had more touchdowns more receptions. But he did have four touchdowns on just 24 receptions as a freshman. So this guy seems to have a nose for the end zone. And like I said, he had that touchdown in the Hall of Fame game. Maybe the dude is just the kind of dude that catches touchdowns. Now, he is still pretty cheap. I mean, obviously, he's pretty cheap. He's a 5th round wide receiver. He's a dart throw, right? We're not expecting a whole lot out of him. But again, going on Dynasty Daddy, just looking at that and seeing if there's a couple deals on there. Happens to be. This one's a great deal. Keonandre Lambert-Smith for nothing. Got him for free, so that's pretty good. I'm going to guess that was an error. Elijah Moore for Keonandre Lambert-Smith. Yeah, sure. I'll take Lambert-Smith. He is the, what's the word I'm looking for? New shiny toy. New shiny toys are always worth more than the old shiny toys. Just look at Toy Story and what happened when that kid, no idea what that kid's name was. Timothy? Christopher? Yeah, Christopher Robbins. When Christopher Robbins found new toys, Woody or whatever, or Buzz, and just left Woody to decide. So that's kind of like what Elijah Moore is. Efton Chisholm for Keonandre Lambert-Smith. That's just a battle of, sure, I like this guy. Let's try. Random 4th for Smith. Sure, that's cheap. You got Lambert-Smith and 2 4ths for Christian Kirk. I would do that. This is a package deal, so I don't want to get into that. And then a 26 4th for Keonandre Lambert-Smith. So not a lot of trades. And this is updated daily, and it's through 8/4. And there's not many deals on there. I will say this. If I can get him cheap, and cheap being like a 4th or a 4th or... yeah, a 4th. If I can pay a 4th for him, cool. If I can pay an Elijah Moore, sure. More likely, just see if you can get him as a throw into a deal and buy him that way. No one's going to go out of their way to buy him. But if you happen to see him on a roster that you're already sending offers for, send that offer out maybe. All right, now we're going to move to a guy that's a little more sexy, just a little bit sexier than Keonandre Lambert-Smith. Bijan Robinson. So Bijan Robinson, in some people's eyes, he is the running back 1. I'm going to go check out KTC and what they have to say. He is the running back 1 in KTC. Somehow he's rising. I'm not really sure why, what I missed. Maybe people are just looking at what he did last year and remembering, holy crap, Bijan was kind of awesome. So Bijan started the year a little slow, right? Yeah, it was a little up and down the first 5 weeks with his opportunity share and his overall opportunities. In the first 5 weeks, he only had 1 week with over 20 opportunities. And in weeks 4 and 5, he only had 11 and 15 opportunities. After that, though, the official term is he went bananas. He had at least 20 opportunities in 10 of the 12 remaining games, and at least 22 opportunities in 9 of those games. He was what we call a bell cow. He carried the load. They trusted him to carry the load. You just look at his game log. Some of these numbers are quite ridiculous. He had 26 rushing attempts and 6 targets against the Chargers. He had 28 rushing attempts and 5 targets against Carolina. Here's another one. He had 20 rushing attempts and 4 targets against New Orleans. 19 rushing attempts and 7 targets against Dallas. You get the point, right? The final, what did I say? 12 games, 10 of those 12 games, but the final 12 games, he really, they rode him. And it's borne out in every statistic you look at last year, right? He saw his opportunity share increase from 52.5% in his rookie season, which was 31st among running backs, to 69.8, which was 13th among running backs last year. So the Falcons absolutely decided to ride him. He had 17.2 rushing attempts per game last year, which was, and he had the 3rd most red zone touches, not just rushing attempts, with 66. The year prior, he did not see that type of usage in the red zone, but it wasn't specific because there was something wrong with him, or maybe, I don't know, whatever. He saw 31 touches in the red zone in 2023, which ranked 32nd. Again, this past year, 66, which ranked 3rd. I don't know what changed. Oh, wait, the coaching staff changed. That's right, Raheem Morris. Yeah, the coaching staff changed. With a new coaching staff comes changes to the offense, and one of the changes that was made to the offense is that they decided maybe we should use Bijan Robinson a whole bunch a lot. I think that was the official term. So again, there's been no changes there either. Not again, but there's been no changes there on the offense, right? They still have Kyle Pitts. They still have Drake London, who I am also high on. But after that, it's Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't see why anything would change, basically. Michael Penix should be better than, what we saw from Kirk Cousins last year, or at least, we'll get to see Michael Penix over an extended stretch. But I still think the best medicine or the best help you can give a relatively young to the starting role in the NFL quarterback is a solid running back, or more than that, an elite running back in Bijan, and let him rely on him. Don't make the quarterback be the one that has to win the games. Let him rely as much as he can on Bijan. And if anything, I think Atlanta is leaning into that ground and pound approach, considering what they did on defense. They've beefed up in the draft. So the Bijan deals, here's the rub, right? So we know Bijan's a stud, but can we afford to buy him? And do we want to buy him for the price that it's out there? I don't know. So I'm just going to go look at our friends at Dynasty Daddy one more time. And these are some of the deals that we're seeing. So you can see right off the bat, right off the rip, he's expensive, man. Although this one's a little weird to me. Bijan in the 26th first. And on the other side, it's Tillman, Jarquez Hunter, Omarion Hampton, and Tet McMillan in a start 11. Even in a start 11, I don't know how you... Yeah, I've got to go on the right-hand side. Now, I mean, I think the thinking was, just looking at this deal, the person on the left that got Tillman, Hunter, Hampton, and McMillan is probably thinking Bijan and Hampton and Cedric Tillman and Jarquez Hunter even are equal, and then Tet is a little less than a first. I don't know how I feel about this deal. But no matter what, we can see it's kind of expensive. You're giving up to probably top two top six rookie picks from this year in Hampton and McMillan. I don't really care in this particular context about Jarquez Hunter and Cedric Tillman. So it's expensive. It's not cheap to get him. In this one, we're looking at Christian McCaffrey, the 109 in a second, for Bijan in the 26 first. That would absolutely be a smash on the Bijan Robinson side. 26 first canceling each other out. Sure, you want to say that the 109 and the 2 is slightly greater than the 26? Sure. But to me, Bijan is significantly more valuable than Christian McCaffrey. I know Christian McCaffrey was great, and if he's healthy, he could be great, but he's the RB13 in Dynasty right now in KTC, and, well, I don't like buying in the risk like that. He could be healthy, sure, but I would pass on that and definitely take the Bijan side. Over here, again, we're looking Bijan for Ladd McConkey, Ricky Pearsall, second and a third. Got to be honest with you, this isn't a bad price for Bijan. 12 by 10. I've been a noted Ricky Pearsall hater, but taking that out of this, if you got Ricky Pearsall in a second, you're probably thinking in your eyes that's maybe equal to a first. So maybe the person feels like they gave up the value of multiple firsts, but either way, that's not really how it works. You're splitting Robinson into 4 pieces. Ladd McConkey is a fine piece, and if the second piece was stronger, like if this was Ladd McConkey in a first, we could talk. But it's Ladd McConkey, Ricky Pearsall, it's second and a third. That second and a third and Ricky Pearsall does not equal does not equal first to me. So I'm taking the Bijan side. And yes, I know, or Bijan. I know I said Ricky's name 3 different ways there. Apologies. Saquon, a 26 first and a 27 second, or Bijan. I'm going to take Saquon. It's a 1-year bet. Generally, we do not expect running backs to last a long time. So on a 1-year bet, I'm good with that. Bijan, Khalil Shakir, 26 first, 27 first. Yeah, so multiple firsts. Bijan in the third for Chris Olave, Jordan Addison, 26 first, 26 second. That's actually not bad. Bijan for Kyron Williams, Zach Charbonnet, 26 first and a 26 second. And this is a start 9. I love me some Zach Charbonnet. Absolutely do. But he's obviously not going to be starting for you in a start 9 unless something were to happen to Ken Walker. Knock on wood, because I like Ken Walker a lot. Bijan for Josh Jacobs, Jordan Mason, 110, fourth and fourth in a start 11. Yeah, I'm probably leaning Bijan. So again, just going through these deals, I'm not going through every one of them. I just want to give you a kind of an idea of what's out there. Yeah, here's one, Bijan Robinson for 3 firsts. Okay, I don't know that I'm paying 3 firsts for any player in fantasy football. If you are, let me know who in the comments. But I can't get there. I'm very reticent to give up 3 firsts for any player right now. So here's the thing. So we're looking at these packages, right? So there's some that aren't bad, but I will say this, for the most part, if you are looking to move Bijan Robinson, if you're looking to split him, it's not a bad idea. You get a good return. I will say this, though, your return or your split should be no more than 2 players. No more than 2 players. You start getting into the 3 players, 1 for 3, generally or typically 1, if not more of those pieces is really not that valuable. Like, I know we like second round picks and they hold value in certain ways, but thirds really don't. And I know we can get spot starts, etc. But when I'm moving a player like Bijan Robinson, I don't know that the 3rd round pick that's getting me spot starts is really something that I want, right? I want 2 strong pieces. Like I said, if it's like Ladd McConkey in a first, cool. If it's that one deal where I went all the way back to the top, where it was like a Marion Hampton and Tet, although you had that at first on Bijan Robinson's side, I can see that. You know what I mean? But at least you're getting Hampton and Tet back. You're getting 2 high-end rookies. Obviously, they only cost you 1 first this year, but they could be worth more than that in some eyes. Although, again, Bijan and a first, you should be taking Bijan in the first on that side. So, again, I just looking at these deals, I'm not, Ladd McConkey and Ricky Purcell, I keep coming back to that one. That's just not how I want to move Bijan. That is just not how I want to do it. No, like, I want 2 strong pieces. Like, I'm just looking through these. Like, I'm gonna Frankenstein one of these deals. Like, dude, you need to give me like Ladd McConkey and Tet McMillan. Like, to me, that's fair for Bijan Robinson. Now, again, I play in a lot of PPC leagues, so that's going to color my opinion or the scoring on that matter. All right, last player, real quick, Jimmy G. Obviously, he's been rising of late because Matt Stafford's back is not working. He is week to week, according to Sean McVay. The last time he actually responded to a question on him, because now he's just flat out ignoring questions when people ask him when and how Matt Stafford's doing and if he's going to play. So now we're looking at Jimmy Garoppolo as the backup there. Jimmy Garoppolo is the reason that you roster any quarterback. I think a couple years ago, people might have given up on him and said, you know what, I'm ready to move on. But you know what? You roster him. This guy had success in the league at one point in his career, and now he might have an opportunity to do it again. If you look what he did last year, I'm just going to say he averaged 20.9 points per game. That's what he averaged. Now, you could say, Shane, he only played 1 game. Well, yeah, that's true. And it was week 18. And I guess it didn't matter, because if it did, I can't imagine he was starting over Stafford. I forget, to be honest with you. But I'm about 90% that the game didn't matter. But he put up 334 yards, had 2 touchdowns, even had 5 rushing yards. So there you go. So Jimmy Garoppolo, I'll send out a 3rd for him. Sure. You know why? Because if he actually hits, or if he actually gets to play, he's probably someone that could be a wide receiver too. And with that opens up other possibilities on my roster. That's what I'm looking at. So if I'm able to now trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, let's walk me through, just vibe with me here. This is my best case scenario. Trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, right? For a 3rd. Now he's been named the starter because Matt Stafford, unfortunately, his back is what it is. He's going to miss significant time. So I got Jimmy G as a starter now. I can move another quarterback on my roster. I'm comfortable with doing that. That's just me, though. I mean, that's not just me. I know other people that would do that. So, yeah, trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, third, fourth. See if you can get him thrown in a deal. See if you can give someone else a backup quarterback. See if someone's got, if you got Mac Jones, maybe they want Mac Jones. I don't care. Throw something out there. What's the worst going to happen? Spam your league. Send out thirds for Jimmy Garoppolo. See if you can get him on your roster. And if you can, again, the dream scenario is that Matthew Stafford isn't able to go in this scenario. In the scenario where I have Puka and a ton of Devonta Adams shares, I don't know how I feel about this, but anyway, hopefully Jimmy would be able to support them. But I know Stafford probably could. Anyway, if Jimmy Garoppolo is named the starter in this scenario, it gives you options with your other quarterbacks on your roster, what you can do with them, making them expendable. Okay, so that's all I got this week. Have you made any deals for any of these players? Oh, the fifth player was AJ Barner. I'm not talking about him. I'm an Elijah Arroyo guy, and I don't think Barner actually matters. And he's not going to give you any valuable fantasy production. So anyway, that's the 5. Have you made deals for any of these guys? Have you made a deal for AJ Barner, Jimmy Garoppolo, Bijan Robinson, Courtland Sutton, or KLS? Or have you traded them away? And if you did, let me know in the comments what the return was. All right. I appreciate y'all listening, watching as usual. Everybody take care.